We are at the Capitol with Representative Mike Sanders. Representative Sanders, thank you for stopping by MyLegislator.tv.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Now, you have one of the largest districts in the state. Tell us about who you represent.
Okay, well, Daniel, my district is House District 59. Basically starts on the eastern side of Kingfisher County and goes all the way out to Woodward. So I have Dewey County, Blaine County, parts of Major, and Canadian County, 6 counties in all. It's 142 miles in length from the southeast corner to the northwest corner, and about 40 to 50 miles in average in width. So quite a large district.
And earlier you were welcoming us to God's country, and of course I understand you are a graduate of the area.
I am. I, of course, graduated Kingfisher High School and then went on to Oklahoma Christian University and was a history pre-law major there and graduated in 1997. So.
And you have been very active over your tenure with the politics not only of Kingfisher, but also of the entire nation. Talk a little bit about your impressive background.
Well, I'll tell you, Daniel, I started when I was 9 years old for a gentleman that worked in Kingfisher running for mayor and worked for my dad. And I really started, I got my teeth cut there. Also happened to be 1984, which was also Reagan-Bush re-elect. Now, I didn't know what a Republican was or what a Democrat was, but I knew when I saw President Reagan on TV, that's what I wanted to be. And so from then, state house races, Senate races, congressional, gubernatorial, and was very fortunate in late 1999, early 2000, to join the Bush-Cheney campaign in Austin, Texas.
Okay. And you worked through the campaign, I guess, after your Hollywood movie career like Reagan, right?
Exactly, Daniel, exactly.
So you did and made quite an impression, I believe, obviously, when I look at your bio. You ended up spending 7 years in D.C. Talk a little bit about how you got there and what your responsibilities were.
Okay. Well, after we won and went through the Florida recount, 36 days, and someday off record I'll tell you about that, but I spent 3.5 years as the director of the White House intern program. So my job was to hire college-age students throughout the country. Had to clean up that program and install integrity and whatnot back to that program. And I hired well over 1,000 interns, and I'm very proud and honored to do that. I then knew that I wanted to do a little bit more in the agricultural area because that's my district, and I've always wanted to come back home and run for office in House District 59. So I needed a little bit more meat and potatoes. And so I went over to the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a political appointee, worked in rural development, which is very important out in western Oklahoma, for 2.5 years. Then my final year worked in Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is water and conservation, another area of importance out in western Oklahoma, as their senior advisor. And then I came back home to run for office.
Well, it sounds very calculated, plotted, planned, that you were trying to become what you are now within your district. Talk a little bit about that same type of attitude, the plotting or the planning that you have for the Kingfisher area and district.
Well, first off, I mean, Kingfisher's my home, and my family has been there for decades. We own and operate the funeral home there in Kingfisher, and I've always had a desire to serve my friends and neighbors in Kingfisher and western Oklahoma. That's my home, and that's where my wife and I are raising our little boy Davis. And so, that's something that I knew at a young age, that I had to educate myself on the issues. I had to align myself with the right candidates, whether it be Congressman Lucas, Governor Keating, Senator Nichols, Senator Coburn, Senator Inhofe, variety of, Lieutenant Governor at that time, Mary Fallin, now Congresswoman Mary Fallin. So, just working up, paying your dues, doing all the little things that aren't very glorious in a campaign, answer the phones, knocking doors, which I love, by the way, but, you just have to put your time in. And that's what I did, and 34 campaigns later, I ran my own, so...
And it was successful. And in your campaign, and this being your first session, what are your impressions on how you can improve western Oklahoma for your entire district?
Well, Daniel, I think the first thing you have to do is, one, you have to be a vocal voice for western Oklahoma. That's something that I'm very proud about. Whether or not, leaders in my party or the other party, they may not always see that. I mean, a lot of them come from urban areas. So it is my job and responsibility, and the 36,000 people that I represent, to be their voice, and that's exactly what I do. And I was very fortunate that House Speaker Chris Bringe named me a Deputy Majority Whip And so I'm very honored to do that. Again, gives me another tool to really, really be a voice for Western Oklahoma and be involved in policy, because there's such a rural versus urban, concept at times. We need to make sure that our voice is heard. And I think with the responsibilities and with the leadership of the House, I've been given that opportunity, and I'll take full advantage of it.
Well, you come to the table with a lot of experience, that's obvious. We look forward to talking to you each week, but I can't let you go without recognizing the fact that Davis was born on President Reagan's birthday.
I wish I could take full credit for that. I grew up being a Ronald Reagan fan, and the night that Nellie went into labor, she said, "I think it's time." And I looked at my watch and I said, "You know what today is?" She didn't have a clue, and I said, "It's February 6th. This is Ronald Reagan's birthday." And she just smiled, and lo and behold, the little guy came. So I think that was a message sent above. So very fortunate.
A lot of fun. We look forward to talking to you more, Representative.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate your time.